Welcome back, everyday business leaders. I'm Melanie Ake, your host for today's show, coming to you from JP the Geek Studio right here in Greenwood, Indiana. We are thrilled to have you with us today. You're going to meet Lisa Franklin from Peace Family Counseling. We're going to learn all about what she does, how you can reach out to her for her services as well. So remember, we are celebrating remarkable business leaders from our very own community, and we hope we're helping you redefine the way you think and grow. Remember to subscribe to our channel and turn your notifications on so you never miss an episode. Are you ready to meet Lisa? Here we go. Hi, Lisa. Welcome.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, this is really great to have you. I know your colleague was here several months ago.
Yes.
And we got so excited. I was like, we need to get Lisa in the studio.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful for this opportunity.
Oh, this is awesome because when we talk about counseling, coaching services, post-COVID, people have really elevated the need for anything they may have never really thought about.
Right.
So this program is really to help educate people on what you do, how you do it, and how they can contact you.
Yeah. Well, we have 7 counselors on site, and we offer in-person or online counseling as long as you live in the state of Indiana. We're actually really excited because Indiana has signed a compact with other states, so that means it's going to be a little bit easier. So when our clients travel, we're going to have better ways that we can connect with them even when they're traveling, if it's for a couple weeks to a couple months, which we have some time, or we have kids who go off to college. So we're really excited that Indiana has moved forward with that. And so we're looking forward to offering even more services in the future. So pretty much if you have a problem with life, coping, mental health, we have a counselor who can help you.
Mm-hmm. And you're right here on Emerson Avenue, right?
We are. Yeah. So we're right across from Sam's Club.
Yeah. And so the great thing about it is for our local community, they can access you at a lot of different times.
Yes.
But you have 7 counselors.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about, and I know Darren and I talked about this a lot, but post-COVID, the need for counseling, and I want to ask you another question about that, but the need for counseling, how has it changed post-COVID, and what are you recognizing that is kind of one of the most requested services?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I don't know that people are thinking about that quite as much. They know that they need counseling, but they're not really understanding all the things that have kind of gone into why they're not doing as well as they used to do even before the pandemic. Mm-hmm. One of the things that research is showing us, we're now getting to the point where we've had social media, we've had the internet in homes long enough that the research is really showing that even though we're more connected online, we're more disconnected in person. And so we've really lost that community. And I think that is really contributing to the loneliness that people are experiencing, which we then know is contributing to many of the mental health issues that are coming up, mainly anxiety and depression. Mm-hmm. Those are the 2 biggest places that we're seeing it come up for people.
Mm-hmm. Well, even if they have a relationship with people online,
yes,
right? The way that the analytics run, you may be friends with people, or you may follow them, or you may be even a family member and see what's involved in what their daily activities are. But then when you get together, it's completely different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that anxiety, I get that a lot of people talk about that.
Yeah.
It is there. They don't know what to talk about. Like, oh, I'm caught up. I just saw all of your updates.
Right.
So what's new? I don't know. What's new? Right?
Yeah,
How do you start that conversation?
Exactly. Yeah. And to your point, we're seeing a lot of that social anxiety even in adults. Like we weren't seeing that I started at this practice in 2016 and I wasn't even really seeing adults noticing that they were having difficulty connecting in person. Mm-hmm. But that's also a space that we're seeing. And so we're just really trying to get people to help understand why they're wired the way that they're wired, and then how they can know that they offer value to a community. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the thing that online has kind of stripped us of, that we don't know what our value is or with who, because we're not getting that immediate feedback like we do in person.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to talk about, the services that are covered, like HSA, FSA, things that people really need to know about, because if they're struggling with something, and I've worked with a lot of people that say, hey, I worked in an environment in a cubicle.
Yes.
So I felt isolated, but I was still with people
Yeah.
all day. And now my company decided, it was too much to go back to the commercial environment
Right.
because rates have gotten higher.
Right.
So we do all of our work from home.
Yeah.
And the anxiety of just showing up on Zoom, right, without just a picture.
Right.
Because a lot of people will show up on meetings, and that's a big
Exactly.
complaint that I hear is
Yeah.
nobody's showing their face anymore. They just get on, it shows your name, and then they have a conversation, and it's not that connection.
Right.
That's part of it, right?
Yeah.
They're not showing their picture, showing up.
Yeah.
Even if you're not dressed from the bottom down. Like, who
Exactly.
cares?
Exactly.
But just to show up is
Yeah.
part of our commitment to each other, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And one of the ways that we were helping people even through the pandemic was trying to get them to keep a routine. And that was getting up, getting showered, getting dressed, putting on your makeup, or, getting dressed head to toe if necessary. But also that was a way that you could show up for people. And so we still are really encouraging people to keep that routine, and then also really finding connection outside of the work hours. And I think that's so much more important than it ever has been, because we're not getting that community in the workplace because everybody's working from home, and that's more common than it used to be.
Well, and I'm a part of Aspire here in Johnson County as an ambassador. So I try to bring businesses in and say, look, the stuff that we do is coffee connections.
Yes.
That has really taken off over
Yes.
the last couple of years we've been involved, because people, they want an opportunity, and they will make an opportunity to connect
Yes.
live to people.
Yeah, the coffee connections are great.
It's huge, right?
Yeah.
It is huge.
Yeah.
And so I think looking for opportunities for people, to feel valued,
Yeah.
like you said.
And connected. And I love the community aspect of Aspire and of Coffee Connection, because there are so many things in our backyard that we can take advantage of that we think only exist when we find things online that appeal to us. And so that's another reason that I love Aspire, because there's so many more resources available than even I knew about living in this community for over 20 years.
No, I know, right?
Yeah,
And I always tell people, if you're involved in a company and they're part of Aspire, ask if you can go.
for sure.
Because a lot of the times they'll say, well, if you work at that company, you could be included. So.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
I send all my therapists. They don't love that, but they do go.
They do go.
They do, and they do a great job.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk to us a little bit about counseling versus coaching. I get this question all the time.
Yes.
I do a lot of business coaching for people, and they
Yes.
go, okay, so what if I have this problem, right? And
Right.
it's very different.
It is. And it's a different skill set, too. So I really think the difference between coaching and counseling is that counselors are actually trying to dig typically into the past to figure out why you're reacting the way that you're reacting. And so we may look at trauma. We may look at your attachment style. We may look at early relationships and how that formed current relationships. And so we're typically trying to figure out the underlying cause to why you're behaving the way that you're behaving. And I think coaching is more of, let's set some goals, let's work on the present, you have some accountability with working towards this goal of doing better in a specific area. And so I think there's value for both. I actually really love both. And I do both for myself.
It's important.
Yeah.
But a lot of people will say, oh, coaching and counseling, like I can go do the same thing with the same person. And I'm like, no, that's really not ideal, because there is, like you said, there's a very specific skill set.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And in fact, we do have a lot of counselors that do become coaches, but we typically, what we do in our industry is that either you're a coaching client or you're a counseling client. We don't like the two to mesh. And I do think that is really best practices, in my opinion. And it sounds like we're aligned on that.
So what got you involved in this whole part of this industry? What stirred your heart for that?
So it started in high school, really. I had, which I don't want to give away my age, but I'll be 50 this year. I just did. It's fine. Yeah, exactly. And I didn't feel like there was a lot of resources for people to just walk with me through. I had some depression in high school, and I didn't really have the language for it. I didn't even really know. I think my parents would have actually gotten me counseling, but I didn't have the words for saying that was a need. It really carried over into some of my early college years. And I happened to actually meet my husband very young when I was 17, so even more of a baby. And I just, at that point, I kind of pivoted and became a teacher first. I'm very grateful that I was a teacher first because I think it really has informed how I work now, and that I do love the teaching aspect that counseling can provide in sessions. And so I kind of took this long roundabout way of getting to counseling, but I would not change any of it. And so essentially I went back after the boys. We have 2 young adult children, and I went back when they were in late elementary and middle school and got my counseling degree and took off from there.
Yeah, very cool. Well, I think it is a journey, right, for all of us.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, how did you decide to do what and when did you pivot?
Exactly.
But I love that because it really tells your story of why you are so successful today.
Yeah,
what you're passionate about.
Yeah, for sure. And just, I think it is okay. Like, that's one of the ways that I walk with people is like, you can make a different decision, and that doesn't have to be the decision that you live with forever, right? It can be what serves its purpose for now.
For now. There's a season.
Yes.
So many things that people go through to change. I've seen so many people that have retired from companies 35, 40 years, and they're like, well, I'm done because I'm done.
Right.
I gave everything to it.
Right.
I'm like, why weren't you ever curious about doing something in alignment or using that skill set in parallel? Right. To kind of be curious and what if I did this part-time, or what if I just volunteered in the community?
Right.
How would that work?
Yes.
And there's so many opportunities. I think we were working with a group and looking at all the nonprofits in Johnson County.
Yes.
I think they said 1,700 nonprofits registered.
Wow.
And that's clubs and things, but
Sure.
still you go, there's always an opportunity to do something different,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To help you not be depressed, to get
Exactly.
connected to something that you really may be interested in.
Exactly. And to your point, that is one of the recommendations we make for people when they're depressed. Like, we do say you need to find some place to volunteer. And it can be a couple hours a week. It could be more than that, but that gives them that in-person connection. It gives them some routine. It gives, they're giving back. They feel empowered when they do that as well. So I love that you said that. And the curiosity, coming at things, being curious about why we're doing the things that we're doing and how that's affecting our decisions in the day-to-day.
That adrenaline, there's something about the endorphins, right? That you go, gosh, I'm not thinking about anything else that's happening in my personal life, but I actually am helping somebody.
Exactly.
It makes a huge difference.
It really does.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's so cool. So tell me, what else is happening at Peace Family Counseling? Like, what are the things that you're looking forward to that you guys are really representing in the community that are hidden that we don't know about?
I love that you asked that question. So we actually...
Hi, I'm Melanie Yake, founder of Everyday Leaders, and I'm excited to share with you a new training resource for your team called the Leadership Game. The Leadership Game is a tool. It's administered exclusively by John Maxwell team members. And when you bring this assessment tool in to lead your organization, it shows you the current level of your leadership and gives you tangible and actionable results to move forward. So don't delay. Get in the game, the Leadership Game, exclusively from Everyday Leaders.
We'll do 1 hour of training for any company that needs training just on anything mental health. So we know that that is a really big need for a lot of big and small companies in the area. And so that is one of the initiatives that we rolled out early last year. So we have anything from how to have courageous conversations with difficult people, which we've all encountered. We have ways, yeah, exactly. We have ways to deal with anxiety in the workplace, ways to look at how your attachment style makes you lead the way that you lead. So we have a wealth of knowledge. All of our counselors are very well versed in counseling, but also have a lot of really good life experience as well. And so we bring that to our training sessions. And so we've gotten really good feedback from those schools and churches that have taken us up on it. And so that is one of the hidden gems that we offer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how does somebody contact you about that?
So they can email me through the website.
Okay.
So my email is lisaf@Peace Family Counseling, because the first counselor I hired was another Lisa, to make it very confusing. So, but I wouldn't trade her for the world. So
She's still around.
She gets to stay. Yeah. So, and so they can just contact me, and then we can coordinate which therapist would be the best fit for what they need. Mm-hmm. And we even will tailor a training based on what the agency needs from the mental health aspect, right? We like to stay in our lane as counselors, right? Mm-hmm. So, but we like to just equip people to be able to lead better and serve others better. That really is our heart at Peace Family Counseling.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Talk to me about insurance, because I know everybody always has the questions about insurance. How does that work? How can they make sure that it's covered or it's not covered, or what the situation is before they come to see you? Is there a best way to handle that?
Yeah. So I'm going to back up just a tiny bit. So I started taking insurance in 2016. And I will tell you, between 2016 and now, things have drastically changed with insurance and with reimbursement. And I even ran into a problem where insurance actually didn't pay me for 4.5 months. And that was right before Peace Family Counseling launched as a group. And so it was really problematic. I cried a lot because I felt such an obligation to my clients, and I didn't want them to have to go somewhere else. And we were able to work it out in the end. But one of the things that facilitated was that I chose not to take insurance for Peace Family Counseling. And that was a really difficult decision, because I know that counseling is just not affordable for some people without insurance. Mm-hmm. So it's still that tension that I deal with today. However, I don't really know the good workaround, because insurance companies just typically are not easy to work with. Mm-hmm. So what we've done on our end is we've put a plug-in on the website. So if you go to our fees page, there's a tab called Mentaya. You can plug in all of your information about insurance, and you can pick which counselor you plan on seeing. And then it will give you in real time how much you'll get reimbursed out of network for insurance. We also have the capability of allowing Mentaya to file those claims for you, mm-hmm. or the client can claim them or send the claims in for themselves. Mm-hmm. And so we really have tried to make that part as easy as possible, while recognizing that we understand that it is just really difficult to navigate the insurance. Yeah. And we feel like we can do better work with clients when we're not having to worry about the payment and the back end of insurance and them taking money back, which they like to do after mm-hmm. they pay you. Mm-hmm. So we've just found that it unfortunately is just not something that we can do. But we also try to keep our fees reasonable, and that is also our commitment to clients mm-hmm. as far as insurance goes. So not good workarounds. I know that was more than you wanted. You asked.
No, but everybody asks, right? Yeah. It's like, they think that it's extraordinary, or like a psychologist fee. And so they're like, I don't know that I can even afford it. Yet it needs to be accessible, and people need to understand, like, go to the website, punch in the numbers, see if it's possible. And even if you have a friend or a family member, to really get them connected.
Exactly.
Because the state of mental health is really important.
It really is, yeah.
This year especially, during the election year, people get so depressed thinking that there's just so much media in front of us, and they have so much influence over what we feel stress about.
Exactly.
And it's like, just turn it off.
Right, exactly. You don't have to absorb this information.
Yeah,
right.
And that's so hard. But I think that, especially this year, you guys are challenged with.
For sure.
A lot.
Yeah. Well, and you bring up a good point, too, because I think sometimes people think that they're going to be in counseling forever. We really ask people to make a commitment to start out with 6 to 8 weeks of counseling. We do like to see you weekly, but we can be flexible with that based on what's bringing you in. If you have something that's more of an emergency, we do want to see you to just get you stabilized and safe. And so that would be something like suicidal ideations, of course. But if you have something really specific that's bringing you in, we don't want to keep you in counseling forever. That is not our goal. And I think sometimes there is a misconception about, well, once I start counseling, they're going to want to get into all my past stuff and dig up all this stuff that I think I've already dealt with. And the reality is that you are in charge of that session and the direction of it and where it goes. The counselor is just there to guide you and point you in the right direction of healing. And I think that is so important for people to feel empowered when they're in session with us.
Absolutely. Well, I love it. And I love Darren, and you have just, you're a joy.
Well, thank you.
It's exciting to have resources and really get to know what you do, how you serve.
Yes.
Right. And why you serve. And I think that's key for people to get to know.
That is really our heart at Peace Family Counseling, honestly.
I gave you a little assignment before you came in.
Yes.
Because this is kind of a leadership program, too.
It is.
But we talk about quotes all the time, and I have little games, and I pull out cards. But I actually gave you an assignment to say, hey, bring in your favorite quote.
Okay.
So I would love for you to just talk about, like, what inspires you from a leadership perspective.
Right.
And let's talk about it. So you have it right there, right?
I do.
Okay.
I definitely do. So I picked one from John Acuff because I read his book several years ago, and it actually really helped me with perfectionism, which I didn't realize how much it was showing up in my life. I mean, I knew I was a bit of a perfectionist, but I didn't really realize the ways that it was manifesting. So he really, that ever since then, I've been a huge fan. And so the quote I picked was, "You don't need to go back in time to be awesome. You just have to start right now. Regretting that you didn't start earlier is a great distraction from moving on your dream today. And the reality is that today is earlier than tomorrow."
Oh, I love that. I love that. So tell me, when did you first hear that, read that, see that? And what was happening? What made you change?
Yeah. So I think even when I went into private practice, I knew that I wanted to have a group practice eventually, and I wasn't really sure what that was going to look like. And it's really easy with social media, as you know, to compare yourselves and your journey to what other people are doing. And so I came across this quote, and it just really helped me to think through, what are the things that I need to do now to prepare to lead a group later? And it allowed me to just get in my lane and be okay with where I'm at in my journey and not get too far ahead of myself.
That's awesome. So you could use that for all of your counselors, really,
basically,
right?
Yeah.
As they walk in, it's like, today's the day you start.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of my favorite, John Maxwell, I'm certified through him, and his big quote that I've used all the time is, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.
Yes.
So it is really about starting that one action step today that makes an impact.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Right. And even with mental health concerns, right? Like, it is making that phone call and just seeing if a counselor could be a right fit for you. And that's tough.
It is tough. It is tough. So if somebody is listening right now, they have a family member, a friend, themselves, that they need help, but they're afraid to call you. Right. Is there a number that they can just pick up the phone? Yeah.
And actually, we have an email address that is, if you fill out the contact us, or I think it's info@Peace Family Counseling, you can fill out that form online. We get all of those emails directly. Like, we are physically looking at every single email that comes into us, and we typically have somebody that can follow up with them within 24 hours of us receiving that email. So I do feel like that's the easiest way. If you call our main number, you will get our voicemail boxes. So you can either leave a message like on the main number, or you can leave one for us directly. All of our email addresses are listed online. So we actually really encourage people to look through our bios and just really see which therapist might resonate with you. And also keeping in mind that you might have to try a couple therapists first. And we even let you try therapists within the same company because we know that sometimes we're not equipped to deal with everything that comes through our door. And our heart is to help you, and it's not about us. It's about the client that comes through the door to help them and get them feeling better as quickly as possible.
That's awesome. Thank you for what you do.
Well, thank you for having me. Thanks for saying that.
Well, it's really important. I've had, a lot of things that people always say, like, oh, that didn't happen to you. But yet you probably know somebody that needs those services that could really make an impact in their life.
Right.
So I always say, like, go back and even as I've been writing books and thinking about stories of people, things that they have started to uncover. Even my mom uncovered a story as she started writing that she had never talked about, and said that process helped her unlock so many other things.
Yes.
So whatever it is, right?
Right.
She's 81.
Yeah. I love that.
Don't wait till you're 81.
Exactly. Right.
Do something today, but it is so powerful. The process of journaling, speaking, getting in front of the right person that has compassion.
Exactly.
To be able to say, this is part of the process.
It is.
So, it's really important what you do.
Well, thank you.
So,
we do really love what we do.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we could celebrate you today.
Yeah, well, thank you.
You're welcome. So your website, peacefamilycounseling.com.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go to that website and check that out. Also, like Lisa said, give them a call, leave them a voicemail, go to info@peacefamilycounseling.com, and you can, find out more if you have a need for services and you just need to be connected to that right person. They're right here locally, and that's what we love, is our local community leaders. And so just thank you for coming, and please, will you come back and keep us updated on the things that are happening?
Yes.
Events, things that you might be doing, and pushing off new services. So.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. And thank you for tuning in to our episode of Everyday Business Leaders. I hope you were inspired to think and grow differently. I know you were. Wasn't this awesome? Lisa's so much fun. Remember, the growth and journey of innovation, it never ends. And it really is our mission to keep bringing you the best from our local community. So stay tuned for more episodes filled with wisdom, innovation, and inspiration. This is Melanie Ake signing off from JP the Geek Studio, where we say better IT service is just a call away. They say own it, secure it, and protect it. Until next time, don't forget, subscribe to our channel and turn on those notifications so you never miss an episode. Everyday Leaders helps you to develop strategies to be a better leader in your life. Remember, it's not what you do in a day, it's what you do every day that makes the most impact. Thanks for following us.